Hi, it's Romy, Aries. Welcome to my channel. This is your June 2021 soul story. If you're sun rising or your moon is in Aries, then all my readings are general, but hopefully will give you a little bit of insight and help you to navigate some of these astrological activities and energy influences through June. So we're opening up your reading with the energy of the Knight of Pentacles. I feel for you, Aries, even though this month is set to have some really wild, intense moments, there's also something about it feeling very safe and soft and secure, and that this access to almost like a stillness is going to be available to you. And it's really important that when you are coming up against these little vortices of energy, particularly with the new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, and with the second of the Saturn squaring Uranus transits coming in on the 14th, that you let the stillness wash over you, just so that you find yourself in an elevated position of not responding or being triggered and kind of blindly reactionary to situations that are not going to advance you. You know, people are learning the hard way. And to a certain degree, you might yourself be experiencing some things that are less than desirable right now. But it's a month where you get to have a really powerful check-in with what you've already achieved, you know, in your life as a whole, but even in this year. You know, we're at the midpoint of 2021. And it's an opportunity to kind of recommit at a really deep level. And that requires like a surrendering into the fact that you might not be there yet. You might not have realized or manifested or tangibly see the results and the efforts of everything that you've been investing and working towards. But certainly with this guide of the Knight of Pentacles coming through, there's an aspect of you being able to stop and take stock and say, well, you know, I might not be there yet, but look what I have already started to put into place. Look what is already starting to come to fruition. Now, Venus moves into Cancer on the 2nd of the month, and so our whole relationship in terms of some of the love relationships in our life, but also the way that we are dealing with money and finances and our value, is coming into this sign where we need to feel our way through. What I think is really interesting is, even though you have this overarching theme of what do I feel, and you'll be saying that to yourself a lot all the way through this month of June, how do I feel about this? But what Gemini energy is also asking of you, and especially in that third house for you, it's not only what do I feel about it, but what do I think about what I'm feeling? Because it's really about trying to get to the root of something. Because I think what it's going to do for you, Aries, in this month of June is see perhaps where you're still needing or desiring some sort of acknowledgement, some sort of validation from something or someone outside of yourself. And I guess what we want to know is, what do you think that they don't see in you or believe in you or recognize in you, that you feel it's your job to keep proving, to keep asking, to keep presenting, to keep giving? So there's some really interesting narratives that are playing out that are all centered around this kind of intimate awareness of what gets to seep in between the cracks, you know, that little bit of negative self-talk or inner critic or harsh judgment that stops you from believing in yourself. And so it's a moment of this powerful check-in, and what can come from that. You know, the Tower energy here is bringing forth something that must be destroyed, it must be broken down, it must be cleared out, so that we can put a more permanent, solid, emotionally stable foundation for which you can begin to build and move forward. Now, I also feel to a certain extent that the Knight of Pentacles is kind of moving directly into the Tower here, but he is aware of it. Okay, so, you know, when we look at perhaps what Saturn squaring Uranus delivered earlier in the year, when it first came on the 17th of February, there might have been a bit of a blindside moment. And of course, in eclipse seasons, things can happen suddenly and unexpectedly. But I have a sense for you, Aries, that you're perhaps very aware of what this big, profound change, it's maybe already happened, and you're sort of, to a certain extent, still having to keep your cool, walk through this wild intensity. But this is exactly what I mean. It feels wildly intense, and yet at the same time, you kind of feel quite secure, like you're going to be okay. You're quite steady with this, and actually, you're going to emerge from this situation, this emotional experience, this moment of growth, this profound change, redirection, whatever it is that's coming in, actually a little bit more unscathed than perhaps you might anticipate. But this witnessing, this observing, is going to really give you a strong response to the growth that's already happened in the first part of this year. Because I think if we went back a year ago, I think you would have come at this very differently. I think you would have ended up getting caught up in it. I think it could have had a much more negative impact on the way that you saw yourself, or just feeling like really kind of upheavaled and disconnected. And I think that there's something so much more leveled about how you're going to approach this moving through June and beyond, that does allow this kind of stillness to wash over you. You know, if you can approach things through this month, and you know, Mars is going to be moving into Leo on the 11th, so coming into a fellow fire sign, which is going to give you the motivation and the impetus and the drive and the energy in a language that you understand. And if you can kind of look at that by way of almost like a simplification, I feel like we need to strip some things back, and the Tower energy is also going to help you to do that. So what you're left with is only really the things that really light you up, that are really important to you, that you really want to prioritize. And, you know, from that, there's also, for me, this profound level of like increased self-respect. It's like a serious level of self-respect that comes in as a result of the way that you handle something or how you do something. Now, your Two of Cups definitely puts an emphasis around how you're taking care of your own needs, but also perhaps in some of the closer relationships and partnerships in your life as well. Again, with that Tower energy coming in, there's perhaps some kind of imbalance or something that fundamentally needs to change or will change. And part of this is going to be having to require a level of deeper faith and surrender into to kind of the full process. If you try mid flow to take a judgment on what's happening and why, then you're going to get yourself super bound up. But what we need to do right now is say, where do I feel safe, supported, seen, and heard? Where do I feel like I don't need to prove myself? Now, there's nothing wrong with striving and wanting to be the best that you can possibly be in any given situation. But if it's always got a condition attached to it, because that is what is required in order for this relationship or partnership or energy exchange to feel balanced, then it's draining you unnecessarily. And there's going to be something, I feel, that will come to light. Now, the new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, air and fire is quite combustible, and so it may well be that there is something that kind of blows up around that time. It doesn't need to be negative. This could be the emergence of something that absolutely is a wake-up call to you that changes everything, you know. And amazing new opportunities can come in when we have endings or things clearing out. And sometimes the way that things end will tell us a lot about how we are set to experience the new energy that comes in. And so the more we can kind of find a level of acceptance or surrender into what's shifting and changing in our life, the easier it may be. You have what it takes by way of understanding how to draw from your own spring of endless strength, you know. Sometimes we feel like we just can't keep going, or we just don't have what it takes, and yet you've just proved to yourself over and over and over again. And there's just something really poignant about June, Aries, that we need you to have this check-in that recognizes how far you've already come, because that's going to give you that level of endurance and the ability to kind of keep going and keep pushing through. I guess there's probably a feeling that there might be that energy that feels like it's going against you, but actually you're going to get to the other side of it. And you may well feel that actually June is the month that kind of stretches you in some capacity, like wildly outside of your comfort zone in some aspects. but you're not going to lose your cool. You're going to keep it together, and you're going to be able actually to go way further than what you'd originally anticipated. Sometimes I think the Knight of Pentacles is a little bit deceiving because we feel like nothing's happening, it's so slow, it's kind of mundane, it sort of feels like there's nothing kind of wildly exciting or adventurous going on here. And we just have to keep showing up, and we're not seeing the results, we're not seeing the effort, and then all of a sudden, boom, like something lands at the perfect moment, and we realize all of that energy and all of that hard work has actually achieved an enormous amount for us. So remember, we're in retrograde season. Mercury is still back spinning right through to the 22nd, so that's going to make communication a little bit more challenging, but it also invites that deeper sense of introspection. Saturn and Pluto already retrograde, and then Jupiter's going to join the party on the 20th in Pisces in your 12th house, as well as Neptune on the 25th in your 12th house. So, there's a unlocking of these deeper subconscious beliefs and, ideologies and things that you're healing and letting go of, and the ability to kind of transcend so many of the limitations that you've set on yourself, to be able to access deeper parts of your psyche, and your spiritual growth is kind of I think going to be on a whole nother level. And you might not recognize that straight away in June, but certainly as you come out of this retrograde season over the next few months, you're going to realize the significance and the importance of what June did for you, and the way that you perceive yourself, how you believe in yourself, and this level of self-respect that's just going to go literally through the roof as a result of how you handle things, what you experience, and what you take from it. Your King of Wands comes in with this vision, this ability to start to create a new rhythm. There's a new musicality to your life that's coming in. You might not feel it yet, but things are getting shifted around on the outside, and I feel like Spirit very much in play with that Tower energy that says, like, this has got to go, we've got to change this, we've got to remove this, we've got to uproot that. And it might feel like you're stood in the middle going, my God, you've literally like dissected every piece of my life and taken it away, but you then haven't seen what comes in its place, this fire, this vision, this space with which to breathe and to finally kind of release so much of your innate gifts and your potential, and the opportunity for new energies, fresh connections, different types of experiences to make their way towards you is so important. And, learning to kind of play a different instrument, learning to dance to a new tune, or find a different way of moving and expressing yourself in the world can feel clunky and uncomfortable at first. And yet very quickly what we're seeing is that you will find your stride and your rhythm with that. Now, it may well be that you have another fire energy like a Leo, Sagittarius, or another Aries that's also somehow connected to a situation that feels a little bit upheavaling and chaotic. Remember what we said, even though there are moments that feel wildly intense, there's also this security that comes in that kind of keeps you safe and protected. And even as strength, as you kind of dig deep and sort of allow that centeredness to return to you, you call your energy back in, you are slightly turned away from this King of Wands, so you're not totally caught up in the drama and the fire if that's what you're experiencing from him. But what I do think is, from a creative, generative perspective, he has an awful lot to give this month. Not necessarily as a person if you're experiencing hardship and challenge with someone, but I mean more about the expression of his energy in terms of, let's tap into it, let's tap into our own fire, our own spark, our own heart, and that kind of cracking open so that we can really get to grips with what's happening and how our emotions are flooding through our nervous system. Because when we move into Cancer season and we're really all about how we're feeling and that kind of intuitive way that we need to take care of ourselves, it's in that 4th house of home and family. So the requirement to invest in spaces around you that feel really conducive and nurturing is what's going to be required to give you the confidence and the courage to take a leap of faith in some aspect of your life. He brings courage and heart and bravery, and your Fool says, let's use that and make it count. Let's take that wild leap of faith. And so there might be something that you feel extraordinary ordinarily nervous about doing through the course of June. And yet it just feels like the universe is conspiring to bring you to this point where you're meant to make this decision. This is meant to be something that you're thinking and looking at with fresh eyes. I feel like you do have a spotlight, you do have a platform, you do have an opportunity to really use your voice wisely to advocate for something that you believe in, to have people kind of really learn from you or draw from your experiences. And that generosity of spirit, that generosity of heart is also coming through really beautifully in terms of giving you some courage and confidence, not because you need to validate or prove. Remember, what we're asking you is not to seek the seek the acknowledgement from others. It's really about already knowing that inherently you have that value and you have something important to share at this place, this marker, this kind of really transitionary time. I also feel by way of like work, it's like, don't give up. There's a sense of just keep going, just keep going, because there's going to be a moment of shift and change for you that comes in. And particularly as we come toward that mid to end part of June, where Mercury moves direct on the 22nd, so things free up much more easily. We recognise the full moon in Capricorn actualises and brings tangibility to some of the things that we've been working on since the earlier part of this year. And so Venus also moves into Leo on the 27th, again, fellow fire sign. So you're starting to feel more and more comfortable as the month goes on. Now, we also recognise in June that we will celebrate the solstice energy. And okay, you have a second King of Wands. Let me just clear this up for you if you're looking at this with some confusion. So the artist and creator of the Magical Moments Tarot that I'm using actually did two depictions of each of the kings, both a feminine and a masculine. So you have the feminine and masculine version of the King of Wands coming through here in your reading. One that's really beautiful because it is, of course, your fire energy that we're looking at, but it also to me brings a harmony and a balance. And we're just talking about solstice, so that's still point where the sun in the northern hemisphere has its longest day, in the southern hemisphere the shortest day, and it gives us an opportunity to reflect, to clear out, to come back into a point of clear, centered, harmonizing energy. And I think you're doing that in a way that's going to be exceptionally important, not only for drawing more strength around you, but actually for unlocking something in terms of an idea, a dream, an inspiration that feels like it takes hold in and around that time and gives you it's almost like your muse awakens in a slightly different way. There's an amplification process that's taking place through the month of June for you. So things are getting expanded, of course, on the internal, because we're in this retrograde season of backspinning planets. So even though you might feel around you things feel slow at some times and chaotic and wild and intense and stormy in other pockets, you yourself are recognizing this spiritual growth and what that's doing for you by way of how you see your place, and that has a direct impact on some important relationships as well. Now, all this fire energy can get a little bit volatile, shall we say, and eclipse energies can certainly do that. So having to keep your cool and keep your temper and find ways to just clear out the excess energy is also going to be super, super important. You're going to be experiencing this kind of polarity and sort of duality of situations, and people perhaps being one thing one minute and totally changing their whole tune the next. And that could be a bit disruptive, because you could have just found your flow, just find your balance again, and then all of a sudden we're back, and this is kind of not only Mercury retrograde, but that Gemini season, and also just the way the astrology is kind of ebbing and flowing and powerfully twisting and turning through this month. And so you'd be forgiven for just feeling a little bit wired and mentally exhausted by the kind of antics of people's emotional game playing, although some might not even be coming at it from that place. It might just be genuinely that they're all over the place. And so you have to be aware. Like we said, people are going to be learning things the hard way, and all of us are trying to discern and decipher, read between the lines and figure things out the best way that we can. But what we do see for you this month is, as long as you stay true and you have that level of knowing what your wanting for yourself, that this is a very deeply regenerative time. You know, all this fire kind of ripping through your pathway can also be really helpful in just kind of clearing out a lot of the dead wood so that new growth can come in. And I think you're going to have that feeling. So, you know, that might be burning some bridges, it might be clearing out some old energies, connections, it might be just moving things in and around your space. But that sense of like 1 minute feeling like there's carnage, nothing's left, and then the next minute seeing everything like sort of surge into life, and like all these wildflowers just arriving beautifully in these pockets of your pathway and your existence that you kind of hadn't seen any movement or growth for some time is really beautiful. And here we can see the Page of Pentacles just showing that gorgeous flower energy coming in. We also have a dragonfly just landing on it here, bringing in that sense of transformation. You yourself are holding the watering can here, Aries, which means that you are the one that has to keep watering things in your life that you want to see the growth in. You want to see advancement in your career. What are you going to do by way of a plan, an embodiment of the things that you are looking to manifest? You want to see more love in your life. What do you need to change? How do you need to identify with your love language and where your needs are being met or not? You want to see changes in your physicality and your health and well-being. Take control of it. There's a learning quality coming in with the Page of Pentacles, but there's also offers and invitations of help and support. And what I'm looking at here is you saying like, okay, I know how to take care of business here. I know what I need to do. I might need some extra people to come in and kind of help me to get to that next level, because I might be a little bit stuck where I am. Inherently, I know what I'm good at, or I know what I'm capable of. I'm just not sure of the exact vehicle or mechanism to make it work. So having that kind of open energy and that open curiosity to the universe to say, okay, like, let's do this. Let me learn. Let me be shown. Let me be guided. Let me be inspired, is going to put you directly in the path of people that are also representative by both of these kings, who are, you know, deeply charismatic, entrepreneurial, advanced, powerful, you know, have great standing in terms of what they know and what they're doing, and can really help to drive you forward in some way, regardless of what area of life that is. You know, they might not know anything about what you're necessarily interested in, but you can still be inspired by how they do something, or their advice, or the way that they approach something, I think is going to be really interesting for you. So when we have that beautiful solstice energy coming in on the 21st, Venus also trines with Neptune. So lovely, dreamy energy, unlocking something in your imagination, and also deeply healing in terms of what it's bringing up and unearthing for you. And even though the Three of Swords can be a tricky card to navigate, and of course with it comes this nervousness, I suppose, of like, I don't want to be hurt, like, don't hurt me again, or do I have to go through that again, or I don't want the disappointment, I don't want to feel triggered in that way. But yet I see this kind of surrendering into it, surrendering and allowing like the emotional energy to pass through you, just so that you can allow a clearance, you know, and there's a truth and a clarification that comes in through June for you, and perhaps as a result of what this tower wants to kind of bring up to the surface, you know, as we sort of look at the pieces of what has been dismantled or kind of knocked down in and around us. And it could be happening on the internal for you, it might be on a much more physical manifestation, but what I'm ultimately seeing is it's very cathartic. Even if it's difficult, it's cathartic. And, you know, life is difficult right now. Let's not kind of sugarcoat, right? You know, all of us are experiencing so many changes and trying to come to terms and adapt and adjust. And it's not an easy time for anybody. And so, you know, these are energies that we've been coexisting with for quite some time now. But it doesn't need to stop us from still tapping into fresh energy, inspiration, and new things coming in that can support and elevate our consciousness and the conversations that we're having with ourselves. Remember, the Gemini and Sagittarius eclipse season was about helping you to have an advanced conversation between your ego self and your higher self, all about the way that you think, learning new philosophies, new ideas, opening up with your spiritual growth, advancing yourself in really powerful ways. And so, like we said, not just in Cancer season what you feel, but also what you think about what you feel. So keep digging, digging, digging to get to the root cause of things. And there your Three of Swords is going to show you where some of the blocks, the resistance and the pain points have actually been what's been holding you back from enjoying this opportunity to take a leap of faith and have this brand new beginning in your life, and in this time where you're ready for it, especially by way of relationships. I think for some of you, the idea of energy exchange and the balance of important relationships in your life, whether that be family, your lovers, your husbands, wives, and people that you care about and that you cherish and that you need to have around you in order to feel supported and nurtured to be able to be the best that you can be. So let's take a look and see how these oracle cards are going to support your reading for this month, Aries. I feel like you're also going to hear news, and it's going to be traveling far, I've just got you get kind of wind of it quite early on. Okay, you've got heart, home, compassion. Of course, like Cancer season is about fourth house of home and nurturing and that kind of inner parenting that you need to do for the self. And where do you need to be more compassionate and tolerant for where you are right now and what you're going through? And again, just back to what I said, this deeply appreciative belief in yourself, this powerful check-in that says, look what you've already done against the odds. It's nothing short of a bloody miracle, right? At times, you really need to recognize that and own that and allow that sense of love and praise to go directly into your heart chakra. It's that kind of level of compassion and love and appreciation that's actually going to give you the strength and the stability to keep going and to take advantage of opportunities that want to come your way, and not see you stuck in this kind of resistant, challenging, doubtful, critical vibe that says I can't do it, or not yet, or I'll just put up with it. There's no more just putting up with it, Aries. No more. Okay, dragonfly spirit change. Well, I love this because we have the dragonfly in your page of pentacles, and we said that this is about you understanding what it is that you need to nurture, how to nourish yourself, but also needing the help and support. But it initiates this beautiful change. And what is the change that's coming? I mean, look at this. The lotus flowers are bursting through the difficult experience that they've had to get to the surface. They bloom in muddy waters, but here we have crystal clear waterfall. This looks like a paradise. Yeah, there's something here that's illuminating that the changes that are happening are so wildly beneficial and positive in ways that you have no idea are yet to land for you. And it's important that you just allow yourself to kind of morph and metamorphosize and surrender into this transition. You're midway through a storyline here, so don't be trying to second guess what you think the full ending is going to culminate in, because I think you would be doing a disservice to yourself, to the universe, and to all of the energy that is yet to come in and demonstrate to you, here's the reward, here's the bounty, here's the investment and the energy karmic exchange of everything that you've been doing and working on. Gorgeous energy to work with the dragonfly, so keep an eye out for that coming through this month for you. So your astrology card, Aries, is the third house, of course, ruled by Gemini, and you are in third house energy through this first part of June. The way in which you think, how you communicate, how you express yourself, some of the day-to-day plans that you're going to be making, even if they are temporary, but they enable an aspect of recovery, an aspect of resiliency, an aspect of getting you from A to B, so that you can then put yourself in the best possible position to start to elevate and find this new rhythm, this new musicality, this new energy, vibration that wants to come in and support you for some of the more exciting, adventurous things that are just round the corner for you. We have these two birds like singing and conversing and communicating to one another. So there's also the remembrance and the reminder that even though it can be hard at times, it's important to keep talking. It's important to keep listening. It's important even when we don't understand or we feel confused by what people are presenting energetically, or through their written words or their spoken word to us, that we can still hold compassion and space, knowing that sometimes people are where they are and it's not necessarily always representative of who they are, but as long as we're taking care with our own energetic boundaries, there's always something to learn in that situation. Lots of information and messages coming backwards and forwards. There might not be an immediate resolution in the first part of the month. Be at peace with that, because it's just important for everything to kind of come up into the light and come to the surface. And so I think there's a lot of revelationary information that's going to be helpful for you regardless. So Aries, this is a general reading for June, so I hope you find it valuable just as you navigate your way through. If you want to join me for the extended version, I'm going to go ahead and just pull some clarifying cards. We will speak for another 20 minutes or so, and it's a way to support my channel. I'm really grateful for those of you that join me. So think about a question I might not have answered in the main spread. We will take a look and see what energy guides want to come forth for you. You can find the link in the description box in the comment section underneath the video. So we have the energy of the Fool coming in again with the Knight of Pentacles, also the Eight of Wands. So things are speeding up, even when at times they feel a little slow and steady. Eight of Pentacles, we have the Ten of Swords and the Tower. All right, so there's a pretty profound ending or something coming to a point of needing to be released, but I think you're going to be grateful for it. Ten of Wands, we can't keep going the way that we are. Seven of Pentacles showing up in just about every reading this month, just because we're at that midpoint of the year where we are required to kind of take stock of where we stand right now and decisions and choices that are coming to us. Ten of Pentacles coming in. Okay, we have the Five of Cups and Strength. Where you're seeing the scarcity or the loss or the lack, again, your Knight of Pentacles coming in, there's just this beautiful sense of recovery coming in, okay? Emperor, another Page of Pentacles here. New beginnings with the King of Cups. Is this a person perhaps? Scorpio maybe, with that energy of death, but again, this significant change. Judgment coming in here. I like all the fire energy showing up to support you this month. And we have another Tower there. Okay, King of Pentacles. Maybe this is connected to an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn for some of you perhaps. Four of Wands with that heart and home, beautiful. Five of Wands with the Dragon Spirit. Change is always uncomfortable. And the Six of Swords. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Aries. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do let me know how this lands for you this month, and I'll speak to you soon if you're joining me for the extended. Sending lots of love your way. Bye for now.